Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing fit-to-fly documentation. For those who are unaware, when all of this COVID response began, when the government's response to COVID began in the form of the emergency decree beginning in March 2020, we saw a lot of substantial changes within the apparatus of immigration, especially documentation. One thing that was created was what was called the Certificate of Entry, but another thing that was created as a requirement for those wanting to come to Thailand, to travel to Thailand, was procurement and provenance of a quote-unquote fit-to-fly document. And fit-to-fly documentation, it's produced by a medical service provider, basically a physician, basically says this individual is medically fit to fly. In a recent article from the Bangkok Post, that's bangkokpost.com, article is titled "Quarantine to be Eased from April 1." Quoting directly, the Center for COVID-19 Situation Administration on Friday resolved to gradually relax COVID-19 controls for foreign arrivals beginning on April 1, shortening or lifting quarantine periods and increasing the range of activities allowed them. Quoting further, CCSA spokesman Tawisin Visanoyutin said that from April 1, visitors would not be required to show a fit-to-fly document. So it appears fit-to-fly documentation is being phased out. Now, I'm sure there are many that are happy. We're certainly happy. It will hopefully streamline processing of these kinds of cases. But the thing to take away from this video is we haven't seen it yet. When we're talking the CCSA, that's about as high up the policy chain as we get. So I think it's safe to say that this is happening. Fit-to-fly documentation is being phased out. This should not be confused with COVID testing. That still appears to be required, at least for now. But fit-to-fly documentation, this sort of extra document, and honestly, this thing has proved to be a real bane of existence for folks that are trying to travel to Thailand. It was kind of superfluous. I mean, it's like, if the purpose of this emergency decree was to deal with COVID-19 and you have a COVID-19 certificate, a test that says you don't have it, the fit-to-fly documentation seemed a little bit, it was kind of overkill, it seemed to me. Now, that said, again, April 1 is when this comes into effect. So if you're flying into Thailand anytime between now and then, this doesn't necessarily apply to you. And even after that, be careful presuming this is not a requirement for, for example, air carriers, because they can oftentimes cause problems with respect, well, not cause problems, but have their own requirements because they're sort of, a little further down the chain, if you will, in terms of getting the updates for documentation to fly into Thailand. So, you may end up with an air carrier that won't let you on the plane because you don't have a fit-to-fly document, even after it's no longer required. So again, like with everything, you're going to have to be very careful and meticulous in dealing with travel to Thailand at this point. But for purposes of moving forward, it does appear that fit-to-fly documentation is no longer required.